Hey everyone, today we're talking about what resurrection actually does. Now, if Christ is proclaimed as raised from the dead, how can some of you say there is no resurrection of the dead? But in fact, Christ has been raised from the dead, the first fruits of those who have died. For since death came through a human, the resurrection of the dead has also come through a human. For as all die in Adam, all will be made alive in Christ. But each in its own order. Christ, the first fruits, then at his coming, those who belong to Christ. Then comes the end, when he hands over the kingdom to God the Father, after he has destroyed every ruler and every authority and power. He must reign until he has put all his enemies under his feet. The last enemy to be destroyed is death. For God has put all things in subjection under his feet. When all things are subjected to him, then the Son himself will also be subjected to the one who put all things under subjection of him, so that God may be all in all. Okay, now there's a lot there, but we're thinking about resurrection and why some people in Corinth didn't actually like that idea or rejecting it now. But I mean, think about it. It is a little bit off-putting. We're talking about bringing a dead body back to life. The idea of a soul floating off to heaven, that is not what resurrection means. It means bringing a body back. And as we'll talk about some more tomorrow, there's a lot of problems that come with having a body, and especially one that's died, right? What would that actually look like? But Paul's point here is you can't separate that future resurrection that they seem to be doubting from Christ's resurrection that they say they believe and is central to the gospel. What God did for Jesus is both the model and the means for what God will do for us in Christ someday. That's how it's going to happen. That's what it's going to look like. The metaphor that he uses here is the idea of first fruits. This is a farming sort of metaphor, that the first crops that come up, it doesn't tell you, okay, well, that's all we got this season. Those first fruits show you there is more on the way. The harvest is going to work. What we planted matters. So there's more coming. So that's what Christ's resurrection means for us, that is not the end for us either. And the other thing Paul focuses on here is that resurrection restores what God intended for humanity. That's why he's comparing Adam and Christ, because that's what we are meant to do. We're meant to lovingly care for creation as God would, even though we so often fail at that. But Christ is humanity's representative, and he gives us back our destiny, our job to reign over creation in love. And so Christ is reigning now. What that looks like is slowly taking control back from evil powers, whatever they may be. And the worst of those is death. I don't know how the process is happening, but I believe that Christ is working against those things, working for good in probably small ways all the time. We see that the scope of God's mission, is all creation, not just a few human souls. So what does that actually mean? What does all in all mean? That sounds pretty big picture to me. How far will Christ go? How much do you think God is actually trying to include in the end? It sounds like everything. Human thinking usually says, okay, what can I get rid of? What do I need to get rid of to fix things? But God's thinking, what resurrection shows, is always, what can I do to redeem everything and make everything right?